the tales of strange encounters from the Arkansas boys. If you've had a strange encounter from a dog man, Bigfoot, ghost, alien, or any kind of monster for that matter, you can send your account to arkansasboys@gmail.com. Be sure if you want us to include your name or not, and we'll get your story on here, and we're going to get right in, folks. This is Strange Encounters, episode 3, and I'm just going to go right into the account here that was emailed to me, and y'all enjoy. I received a letter from an anonymous man claiming to be a former U.S. Special Forces operative regarding a mission he was a part of back in the early 1980s. In the early 80s, I was a part of an Army Ranger Special Forces team. We were requested by a government agency to put a stop to several aggressive Sasquatch in the high country along the Pine Mountain Trail in eastern Kentucky. We all thought it was a joke. My partner in our team of 12 had become my buddy. He was Native American. This man wasn't scared of anything. Before we were ordered to go out during the briefing, all these agents were showing us slides of what these creatures did to people, adults and children alike, as well as the damage done to the vehicles and homes. Anyway, my buddy turned white with sheer fear. He told me this is bad, really bad. When we arrived in the little mountain village town, the sheriff met us. He told us that he had never been so happy to see the cavalry since he'd been in Korea. He showed us the actual places where, as he put it, this is where those effers, those big hairy demons, destroyed this or killed him, her, or them. There. My buddy was taking everything in like I never saw him before. After talking with the sheriff, our lieutenant told us to fire up because we're going hunting. As we were getting our gear ready, my buddy said to me, "You know, I've always thought my grandfather was just telling me scary stories about he and his brothers when they fought the wild men." We started in around 1400. By 1600, we found lots and lots of tracks. We started tracking them. We made out at 7 different individuals. We made first contact at around 19:30 hours, and it was almost dark. The point man stopped dead in his tracks and spoke into his headset. "I see one. It's effing huge." The lieutenant said, "If you have the shot, take it." He shot the massive hairy beast with a 7.62 military round, and it acted like it was just bit with a mosquito. This creature turned around and let out a god-awful roar. Our point man quickly switched to fully auto. This time the creature dropped like a rock after 10 7.62 military rounds entered his chest. After first contact, the agents radioed in and said they wanted one alive. Our lieutenant told him that they were crazy. It took 3 days and nights with almost no sleep, but we dropped 7 hairy beasts. We found the missing people, or rather what was left of them. We had 1 casualty when a team member was snatched straight up into a tree and tore apart. There was nothing anyone could have done for him. To this day, thinking of those 3 days sends chills down my spine. You won't find these 3 days in any military record or mission log. Going into our mission debriefing, where normally we are asked 1,001 questions about every shot fired, every angle we fired from, every angle we fired on, etc., we were simply told that The past 3 days we were doing rigorous mountain training, and during the training period we lost a man. And with that, the debriefing team stood up and walked out. Now, normally we had individual debriefing for the whole team, but this was the only one and only time it was just the team. So to answer your next question, after 3 days, government agents came in and removed all 7 corpus and flew them out. I want to thank this individual for sending me this email here. His name wants to remain anonymous, but that had to be a scary experience, even though he was military trained, to have to go through in them 3 days. Thanks for listening to this story. We'll be back with another story here in a second. All right, for our next encounters, they come from B.C. Davis of Ball Knob, and it's a bunch of little encounters that people's told him over the years and reported to him. And here we go with these little encounters, and hope you enjoy them. All right, this encounter was sent in to B.C. Davis by a man that lives near Ball Knob Lake. He says, I'd heard screams and whoops around the lake, and I believed it to be Bigfoot. But after last fall, when I was near the WMA and was driving back to deer camp, I saw something with reddish black hair run out in front of me and crouched down on all fours, then crossed the road and was moving along the road as I moved 60 miles an hour. It was night. It bounced back and forth across the road, then took a sudden step and turned right and went into the woods. Now I know what was making all those whoops around Ball Knob Lake, the man says. All right, that once you had an encounter, you know what you've seen, and it don't fit no description of anything, and you know if you've seen a Bigfoot or not. So I believe the man seen a Bigfoot. All right, this next encounter here just kind of backs up the one that we just heard, and it's from the same general area, but as far north as you can go to in that WMA, and it's from a game warden, and he writes, February 17th of 2019, I was driving and saw the back animal as it ran across the highway in front of me. As I drove to work about 4 a.m. Note that I said it ran across the road. It was covered with reddish hair and ran across the road. Not sure as to what it is, but it's definitely something strange in the woods around Ball Knob Lake. Alright, this is our final encounter for this show, and it actually comes from B.C. Davis himself, and I'm just going to read his encounter. It's from the winter of 1989 as he was hunting. So here's his encounter. I was walking in the woods about a mile or so west of me. As I got into the woods, I heard footsteps to my left. I shrugged it off as I was walking downhill towards the creek. I kept hearing these steps get louder and louder. I finally called out and said I had a shotgun, and I did, and to let me know where they were so I wouldn't shoot in their direction. There was no reply. I was looking towards the area the steps were coming from and didn't see anything. At this point, I suddenly became very scared and started shooting into the ground. I shot and reloaded all the way back to my car. Never been back there to this day. Never saw anything, but I heard the steps after I shot. That's when I freaked out. An animal would have ran away, or a person would have ran, called out, or shot back. All right, yeah. Anybody that's been in the woods had strange encounters like that, and you just feel uneasy, and especially if you can't see what it is, and
and if you have any strange smells or footsteps that's along with you. But sound like there's some strange things that go around Bald Knob Lake. And if you've had any encounter or seen anything strange around there, just leave a comment on this video. You might hear your encounter on the next episode of Strange Encounters from the Arkansas Boys. Thanks everybody for watching, and see you next time.